WhyGuru Ji Ka Khalsa, WhyGuru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome back to the Japji Sahib course. Last week we had a Q&A with Bhai Harbhajan Singh, so there was a bit of a break, but thank you to everyone that joined us on that one. But we are back in week 28, and it'll be by Manpreet Singh doing his talk. Just a quick beinti, thank you to everyone that joined us on the Seven Sisters fundraiser hike. It was a great turnout and great weather. We hope for those of you that did join, really enjoyed it. But we're at 85% of our target, so we're trying to raise around £50,000, and we're just a couple of percentage short. So if anyone that hasn't donated yet is willing to and able to, please go on the Basics website or Instagram or any other social media. You'll see a link, and please do donate so we can meet our target. The fun facts about the presenters have been a bit on and off because Sukhdeep Singh just like sort of glosses over them. But I'm not sure if I've done this fun fact about Manpreet Singh or not, but I'll try it again. But I'll do it anyway. But Manpreet Singh is one of 5 siblings. I've done this one, but I've got another bit to it. I'm going to ask you guys to guess: is he the oldest or the youngest of their siblings? We've done that as well. Okay, John. No, all the fun facts have been done. WhyGuru Ji Ka Khalsa, WhyGuru Ji Ki Fateh.
WhyGuru Ji Ka Khalsa, WhyGuru Ji Ki Fateh. So, welcome back to the Japji Sahib course. Thank you all for coming. It's really nice to see so many people turning up week in, week out. And we're very blessed today. We've got Sangat all the way from Leeds. So the pressure's on. So as normal, we're just going to start off with the Mool Mantra. So let's do this Mool Mantra together. Ik oankar Satnam Karta Purkh Nirbhau Nirvair Akal Murata Ajuni Saipang Gur Prasad Jap Ad Sach Jugad Sach Happy Sach Nanak Hosi Pi Sach Ad Sach Jugad Sach Happy Nanak Hosi Pi Sach. WhyGuru Ji Ka Khalsa, WhyGuru Ji Ki Fateh. Okay, so I'm going to start off with a quick recap of Gurjanan Singh's talk, where he went over Pauri number 25. So this was all about the actions of WhyGuru Ji. So Bahota Karma Likhiya Na Jaye, how we literally cannot write, we cannot keep an account of everything that WhyGuru Ji does, because they do so much. We heard a Sakhi of a great being, a Mahapurush, who sent their followers to buy more breaths from a market. The moral of the story being to be careful with your breaths because they're always limited. The great giver. So we heard about how WhyGuru Ji gives to everyone, whether they're good or bad. And then finally, the Pauri finishes off by saying, Jisno Bakse Sift Salaha Nanak Badsahi Badsaho. So whoever is blessed with the praise of WhyGuru Ji, they are the king of kings, right? So to set the scene a bit for this week's talk, Pauri number 26, we're going to do a bit of shopping. And I want you guys to imagine that we go to a bakery, right? You go to a bakery, surprise, surprise, you're going to buy some bread. Does anyone know the average price of a loaf of bread? What are we talking here, guys? £4, £5? Anyone want to guess? Yes, bro, at the back, Kanji. £1.50. I can tell you shop at Waitrose, mate. Yeah, about £1. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so bread costs about £1, £1.50, depending on what one you get. Okay, now what if we went to the Apple store? And I know everyone with a Samsung is getting probably ducky right now. Like, why can't you do Samsung? Right, well, what if we went to the Apple store and I want to buy an iPhone? Right, the average cost of an iPhone, there's many different models, but the average cost of an iPhone is about £1,000, right? That's its price, about £1,000, so quite expensive. Everyone's like, Samsung's cheaper, right? But what about if we go into Guru Nank Dev Ji's shop? Right, I want you to imagine, we go into Guru Nank Dev Ji's shop, and Guru Nank Dev Ji is trading Sikhi. But instead of asking you guys how much you would pay, I'm going to flip the question a little bit. And I want you guys to look at Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. Benti, if everyone can look at Guruji, and the question is, if someone came to you and said, you can never see your Guru again, you can never come to the Gurdwara again, you can never do any seva, no Simran, and give up your Sikhi basically, but I'll give you £100,000. I want you to think to yourselves, would you pay it? Would you take the money, 100 grand, never to see your Guru again? And if you wouldn't take 100 grand, what about 500 grand? Or even more than that, £1 million. If someone says, look, you can live a nice life for £1 million, but you can just never see your Guru again, would anyone take that? You see, sometimes for people like me, coming to the Gurukar is a bit of an inconvenience, right? We try and squeeze it into everything else we've got going on in life. But when we're faced with the thought of not having it anymore, when we're faced with not having our Guru anymore, we suddenly get a bit scared. Then we remember how much our Guru's worth to us, right? So, in that respect, we can't put a price on Guruji. Right? We can't put a price on our Sikhi. So therefore, they have no mul. Mul means price. And if something is amul, it means it's priceless. And the Siddhs asked Guru Nank Dev Ji, they said, Maharaj, tell us about this trade. This trade that you do with the WhyGuru, tell us about it. And Guru Nank Dev Ji starts off by saying, amul gun. That these qualities of WhyGuru, they're all priceless. Now the word priceless, amul, sometimes we can think it means if something's like really expensive, right? That you just cannot price it. It's like billions upon trillions of pounds or whatever, right? But here, amul, priceless, means it's beyond, you cannot purchase it. It's beyond a value, right? So imagining this shop of Guru Nank Dev Ji, there's a whole aisle of gun. You've got Pyar, love. You've got Santokh, which is contentment. But you cannot buy contentment. You cannot put a monetary value on contentment, right? So Guru Nank Dev Ji's, their shop is the only shop that is giving you something that has no monetary value. It is priceless. It is amul. So for example, if we take Santokh, for example, we can't buy it, but the world will tell us that the more we buy, the more content we're going to feel, the more happy we're going to feel, right? So once I buy this car, or once I buy this house, or these clothes, then I'm going to feel happy. But Guru Nank Dev Ji's shop, it's the only shop that says you can be happy right now. You don't even have to pay for it. All you need is contentment. Now of all these guns, Guru Ramdas Ji, they say, Tere kavana kavana guna kehe kehe gava. How can I sing of all your qualities, WhyGuruji? There's so many. Tu Sahib guni nidana. You, O Master, you're a treasure of excellence. They say, Tumari mehma, your greatness, baranasako. I cannot explain how great you are. But there's only one thing I can do. Maharaj says, Tu Thakura, you are the Master, Ucha Bhagavana. You're the highest of the high. I don't know, I can't say how high you are, Guruji, but I know you're the highest of the high. Right? I cannot quantify it. So these guns in the shop of Guru Nank Dev Ji, there's so many. How can I define them all? There's so many. That aisle of guns in Guru Nank Dev Ji's shop, it just keeps on going. It's unlimited. There's so many. Maharaj goes on to say, Amula Vapar, that this trade of Guru Nank Dev Ji is priceless. So Guru Arjan Dev Ji here says, Sach Vapar Karaho Vapari. They say, O Vapari, O trader, do this trade of truth, this true trade. They say, Daraghe Nibhe Kepa Tumari, that trade in those things that are going to be with you in the court of WhyGuruji. Meaning, trade with these things that are beyond price. So, for example, if you think of your house, for example, whatever property you live in, it might be worth, let's just say, a few 100,000, maybe even $1 million, right? Regardless of the value of that property, it won't go with you when you die. So in your account, WhyGuru isn't going to say, well done, you brought a house that's worth this much. But WhyGuru will say, well done, you done one Japji Sahib on this day. One. That's going to go with you. So if you held a house in one hand and Japji Sahib in the other, what's worth more? Right? If Japji Sahib is going to go with you all the way to the afterlife and your house isn't, then really, what is worth more? It is amul. It is beyond price. Maharaj goes on to say, amul vapariye, that those traders that partake in this trade of Sikhi with Guru Nank Dev Ji, they're trading things that are priceless and they themselves become priceless. You can't put a price on them. Amul pandar, so your stores are priceless. Does anyone know who this guy is? Does he look familiar to anyone? No? Okay, this gentleman here is called Brian Johnson. And Mr. Brian Johnson is a billionaire. And he's spending a lot of money. Does anyone want to guess what he's spending money to do? Anyone want to have a guess? Yes, got a move thing. Staying young, yes. Staying young. He's trying to beat death, essentially. He's trying to beat death. So what he does is, he takes over 100 pills a day. You know, like all these supplements, he takes over 100 every single day. He counts his calories exactly. So he knows exactly what calories he's consuming every single day. This guy's got a whole team of doctors, right? And they monitor, imagine, every single organ in his body. Whenever there's something wrong, straight away they know about it. They try and do something about it. He's trying to beat death. He's trying to become immortal. Now, will he do it? Probably not, unfortunately for him. But if we look at Maharaj's Pandar, Guru Ramdas Ji here says, Har Amrit Bhagata Pandar hai. That within Guruji's Pandar, within their treasure, they've got Amrit. Guru Satguru Paase Ram Raje. That you can only get it through a Guru. So the Guru's Amrit, the Guru's immortality, connects you to God. Right? This Amrit, this blessing of completing our spiritual journey, what's worth more? That or what Brian Johnson's doing? He's spending over $2 million a year, by the way. That's the cost of doing what he's doing. $2 million a year to try and stay alive. But the Guru's Amrit, not only does it make you immortal in the spiritual sense, but it connects you to God. All right? For that reason, it is priceless. It is amul. Okay, right. So, you know, a quick personal story here. I wasn't sure whether to put this one in here or not. So one day, my mum sent me to get some atta, right? Anyone who doesn't know what atta is flour from the shop. And it's a big thing, especially in a Punjabi household, right? You need atta. So my mum sends me to get atta. And I remember I went to the shop, and boy, this whole aisle was full of so many different kinds of atta, and I got so confused, I couldn't remember which one we ate at home, right? What flour we ate. So I remember I was standing there, and I was like, you've got white. I know it's definitely not white, but then you've got brown on the other side, and then you've got like everything in between. You've got like medium, light gold, dark gold, all of these things, right? So there's Manpreet Singh standing there doing eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I land on medium, right? So I was like, right, I'm going to go for medium. Let's see what happens. I come home and I leave the atta in the car. I open the front door, I shout to my mum, I say, Mum, what atta do we use? She goes, medium. Oh, thank you, WhyGuru, thank you so much, right? So I'll go, I'll pick up the atta, bring it back. She looks at me, she starts cussing me anyway. She's like, have I taught you nothing? You know nothing, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what's wrong? I've got medium. She goes, we eat elephant atta, not asli atta. I was like, oh, because WhyGuru, right? I was so close. Still had to go back and change it, right? So the point being, like, if I had someone there at that time, right, a helper to say, here, go for this one, not that one, right? I'd be so grateful for that person. And in Guru Nank Dev Ji's shop, right, in Guru Nank Dev Ji's shop where they trade, sometimes we need a bit of help. We don't know what to go for next on this path of Sikhi. So what does the shopkeeper do? When he sees us struggling and he's looking at us from afar, and he sees we don't know whether to go this way or that way. Which one do we do first? What does he do? What does any good shopkeeper do? They send one of their workers. It's their workers that come, and they come to connect us with Sikhi. They come to connect us with our Guru. How can we put a price on someone who helps us understand Guru Sahib Ji Maharaj? How can we put a price on that? It's invaluable, it's beyond price, it's amul. Maharaj says, amul aave hai, amul le jahe. Meaning that such Guru Sikhs, they're coming into this world, amul aave hai, is priceless. You can't pay for it. It's beyond value. And even they themselves, amul le jahe, not only are they teaching us about Sikhi, but they're living it themselves. And through their example of living Sikhi, we then connect. Again, it's amul. So a quick Sakhi now. There was once a great Guru Sikh of Guru Arjan Dev Ji, and his name was by Santaram Ji. By Santaram Ji, right? And he was a guard for the Emperor Jahangir, right? He's quite a high position in guard. Now what happened was, whilst Bhai Santaram Ji was on guard once, the Emperor's daughter, the princess, she sees him. She sees him and she falls for him straight away. She goes to tell her mum, she says, Mum, I'm going to marry that guard there. And I'm not going to marry anyone else, I don't care. And her mother says, look, that's Bhai Santaram. He's not even a Muslim. How can you marry him? She goes, I don't care. If I don't marry him, I'm not going to marry anyone. So the mother goes to the Emperor Jahangir. She says, look, your daughter's got her heart set on this guard of yours. And she isn't changing her mind. If we want to get her married, we're going to have to get her married to this guy. And the Emperor says, fine. What we'll do, we'll carve out a piece of land for him. So he'll become a landowner, right? So he'll have status. And then we'll bless him to convert to Islam. That's what we do. So what happens is Santaram finds out about this from one of the other guards. They come up to him and they say, Bhai Sahib, congratulations. Your dreams have come true. Santaram's thinking, what? What do you mean my dreams have come true? He says, you're going to get married to the Emperor's daughter, the princess herself. Bhai Santaram says, that can't happen. That can't happen at all. I'm a Sikh of Guru Arjan Dev Ji. He says, yeah, that's fine. They're going to give you loads of land. You're going to marry the daughter. You're going to convert to Islam. And you're going to have a really easy life now. You know how earlier we were saying, would you leave your Guru for an easier life? Bhai Santaram Ji says, no way. He says, no way am I going to leave my Guru. I don't care about this marriage or that I'm going to be royalty or all the power. I'm not leaving Guru Arjan Dev Ji. So he's in a bit of a predicament, right? Because what you got to understand is back then, if the proposal for a marriage came from the female side to the male side, and the male said no, it was a kalank, what they call a kalank. It was like a stain, you can say, on the female. And it's a really big thing back in these days. It was so bad that if a female got a kalank, no one would want to marry her, right? No matter how good she was, if someone else turned her away, other males would say, no way, I'm not going to marry her now. Someone else has turned her away. So Santaram, he actually runs away from home. He runs away, leaves the situation. He leaves and he comes to a district. And the leader of this district meets him, recognizes him, and he goes, oh, Santaram. He goes, the Emperor sent out search parties far and wide for you. They sent out search parties and they've sent out loads of palanquins. A palanquin, if anyone doesn't know, is what they seat royalty on, and then the Sevadars lift the royalty up on this platform and then they walk, right? They sent out loads of palanquins to bring you back on. Bhai Santaram says, no way, I'm not going back because I'm not leaving my Sikhi. And the leader of this district, they said, fine, the price you're going to have to pay then is your head, because the Emperor said, you either bring him back dead or alive. I either want him back on that palanquin to marry my daughter, or I want his head. They're the only two options. Bhai Santaram says, fine. He says, take my head. But he goes, before you take my head, I've got one request. Does anyone want to guess what Bhai Santaram's request might have been? If you think about the people that have given shahidi, given their lives for our panth, most of them have got something in common. Does anyone want to guess what Bhai Santaram said? Any guesses? Okay, Bhai Santaram says, I want to read Japji Sahib one last time. And the reason why that's so significant is because if we look at the shahidi of Guru Arjan Dev Ji, before they gave shahidi, they recited Sri Japji Sahib. Before Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji gave shahidi, they recited Sri Japji Sahib. Even martyrs like Bhai Mati Das, right? They were sawn from head to toe, and whilst it was happening, they were reciting Japji Sahib. So I know we're learning about Japji Sahib now. Sometimes we forget the value of Japji Sahib itself, what we're learning about. Bhai Santaram says, I want to do one Japji Sahib, then when I lift my head, then you can take it off. So he does his Japji Sahib, lifts his head, chop. Now the head gets taken back to Emperor Jahangir, and he very nicely brings it in front of the princess. He says, look at this fool. This Bhai Santaram, he gave up all this, an opportunity to be wealthy, an opportunity to be royal, have a nice easy life. He gave it all up, and now look at him, he's dead. What a fool, he said. Princess walks over to the head. She reaches out, she goes to touch the head, and it moves away from her hand. Emperor Jahangir is so shocked, and the princess said, look at that. Bhai Santaram must have had so much faith in God that even now that he's left his body, God is still protecting him. God won't allow my impure hand to even touch his head, even though it's not on his body anymore. Right? This is the love that Bhai Santaram had for their Guru. It was worth more than their life. So this is what Guruji is talking about when they say Amulla Pai, Amulla Samahe. So those people that are immersed in love, a love for their Guru, love for WhyGuru, they themselves are priceless. So Guruji goes on to say Amulla Dharam. So righteousness itself is priceless. So if we look at Adharam, for example, right, the opposite of righteousness, we can pay for that. Right, to get away with something bad, especially this in this day and age, we can pay for it. So an example is when I was in India once, I was sat on the back of my cousin's motorbike, right, and the police pull us over, and I'm getting really scared. I'm like, what's this policeman going to say? He goes, don't worry, he ain't going to say anything. Pulls out a wad of notes. Policeman comes over. He goes, what are you doing? You guys are speeding. My cousin goes, no, we weren't. And he folded these notes with his thumb, and he went to shake the policeman's hand. Policeman shook his hand. He goes, oh yeah, no, you weren't speeding. Go on your way. Right? So that's not a good example because both were in the wrong. But Adharam, it's the opposite of righteousness, we can pay for. It has a value. Right? You can buy yourself out of things, generally speaking. But the true righteousness has no value. You gotta live it. Right? Just like by Santaram, you gotta live Dharam. You can't buy it. Maharaj says, Amul Diban, that your court, WhyGuru, that court that we're all judged in, even that itself is priceless. So here we can get away with Adharam, with doing the wrong thing, paying for the wrong thing, but not there. Right? When we leave this body of ours, that's where we're going to find out what we've been doing truly. Only the truth resides there. So we can't pay Dharmaraj. Dharmaraj is the demigod who considers our accounts. All the good, all the bad we ever done in our life, that's their job, to judge us, right? But we can't pay them at that time. We can't pay them off like we can pay off the police in this world, right? It is beyond price. It's amul. Money means nothing there. Maharaj goes on to say, amul tul, amul paravan. So that tul, these scales with which you are judged, even that is amul. Right? It's priceless. So we can't barter with God. At the end of this life, we can't get a U and say, WhyGuru, I'll pay you £1,000. Just flip that U and put a line for it and give me an A instead, please, right? We can't do that. It doesn't exist. It is amul. It's beyond price, beyond value. And those that pass the test, those that are Parvan, they themselves are also amul. Does anyone know who this is? any takers. Anyone know who this is? Omkar Singh? No? So this is Sant Baba Shyam Singh Ji. Sant Baba Shyam Singh Ji, they're a great saint. And they used to do seva of pouring water for people. And whilst they would do it, they would say, Akho Satram. So they'll tell the person, say the word, Akho WhyGuru. They'll tell the person, say the word WhyGuru. So as they go in, they're saying, Akho WhyGuru, Akho WhyGuru. They're going down the line of people that want water. They get to one guy, they say, Akho WhyGuru. The guy stays silent, doesn't say a word. Sant Baba Shyam Singh Ji, sorry. They say, Akho WhyGuru. They say it again. The guy says, pour my water or not, but I'm not saying WhyGuru. Sant Ji says, why? Why won't you say WhyGuru? He goes, what's WhyGuru ever given me? They're giving me nothing. Look at me. I'm Garib, I'm poor. I've got hardly any clothes, hardly any money. I'll go bukka. I'm very hungry. Right? They say, God's given me nothing. Sant Baba Shyam Singh Ji, they say, okay, come back tomorrow. So the guy comes back, and Sant Ji's sitting there with a wad of cash. And he gets really happy. And he says to the guy, I'll give you 1,000 rupees, which in these days was a lot of money. He says, I'll give you 1,000 rupees if you give me just one of your fingers. Any finger, just give me one of them. The guy's like, no way am I going to give you one of my fingers. Sant Baba Shyam Singh Ji says, okay, fine. Give me 2 fingers, I'll give you 2,000 pounds, 2,000 rupees even. He goes, no way, I'm not giving you even one finger, let alone 2. He says, okay, fine, you got 2 eyes, right? Just pluck out one of those eyes for me. Give me one eye, and I'll give you thousands upon thousands. I'll make you a rich man. He goes, no, I can't give you an eye of mine. Sant Baba Shyam Singh Ji says, look at that. You're saying that God has given you nothing, but you can't even put a price on one finger, on one eye. Even that is beyond price. Amul Bakasis. WhyGuru Ji's blessings are beyond price. They are priceless. So, for example, like, when's the last time we were grateful for our eyesight? When's the last time we were grateful for this body that we can use to connect to WhyGuru Ji? Right? Fools like me, we forget these things. It's only when we're faced with losing it that we actually remember how valuable it is. Okay. Shout out to my Seven Sisters crew. Everyone that came, thank you all so much. Thank you to all the Sevadars as well. You've done a smashing job. For those of you that came, you would know that to get to the beach, we had to walk down a flight of stairs. It's a bit crowded, but we had to get down there somehow. And at the top of those stairs, a guy pulled me aside as I was on my way down. Pulled me aside, he's with his partner, and he says, what's the deal with you guys? Because you guys, you got like all your hair covered, you're carrying these weapons. Like, what are you guys about? And get this, before I even spoke, his partner that was with him, she said, these guys are Sikh. She goes, these guys are Sikh. They help out at my charity so much. They say more than anyone else, the Sikhs do the most. Right? That's what she said herself before I'd even said anything. And I was like, look at that. Just the roop of a Sikh means so much. Amul Nisan, the symbol of our Guru, this symbol, it's priceless. If people died for it, if it was worth more than people's lives, how could we possibly put a value to that? A monetary value. It is Amul Nisan. It can also mean our Nishan Sahib. Right? At the front of every Gurdwara is a Nishan Sahib. And I heard a Sakhi recently that the Nishan Sahib would fly very high during the battles, right, that the Khalsa fought. And what would happen was, the person holding the Nishan Sahib, if they died, if they gave their life and became a shaheed, someone nearby would run over, forget what's happening everywhere else, they'd run over and they'd hold the Nishan Sahib themselves. Even if they were hacked to pieces then straight after. It was worth more than their life, it was worth dying for, even if they only held it for a couple of seconds. Why? Because it's priceless. It's worth more than their life. So a humble benti, I'm only talking to myself here, when we come to the Guru Gar, please don't just walk past the Nishan Sahib. Right? Even if you just bow to it from afar, show some sort of respect, because it costs so much. It costs so much, yet it cost nothing in monetary terms. It is Amul. Okay. Amul karma, amul furman. So amul karam means priceless are those actions, and amul furman is priceless are the command. Okay? So there was once a time where a commander came to Guru Gobind Singh Ji after Guru Gobind Singh Ji had fought a battle, and this commander was quite hankari, he was quite prideful about his army, right? He said, "Oh Guruji, if we were there, you would have won the battle sooner. My men, they're so brave. Look at them. They're so brave. They got all these weapons. They're so great." And Guru Sahib, they realized that this guy's quite hankari. They said, "Okay, fine. They're so brave." He said, Maharaj said, "I've got a new weapon here. I've got a new gun. Call some of your men. Let's try it on them. I want to try my gun. Call some of your men forward." The guy's thinking, what? Maharaj says, "Yes, come on. Call someone in your army. If they're so brave, call them forward." The guy calls out. He says, "Can I have someone to volunteer to be shot by this gun? We want to try it." As you can guess, no one steps forward. No one steps forward from this guy's army, yet he's saying they're so great. Now, the command, the furman comes from Guru Gobind Singh Ji. It says, "Oh Khalsa Ji, I want to test this gun. Is there anyone that will come forward?" And again, as you can imagine, people rush over, including a father and son. Father and son, they rush over, they're standing in front of the gun, they start fighting with each other. The son saying to the father, he's pushing him away, the son saying, "Let me die, you've got more gyan, father. You've got more gyan, you can give more to this month, let me die." Imagine, the father's pushing his son away, saying, "No, let me die. I'm old, you are young, you've got many years to live yet, you can live many years serving this month. That your life's more valuable, let me die." At that moment, this commander realized that his furman, his command meant nothing. But the furman of our Guru, the furman of Guru Gobind Singh Ji, priceless. It's amul. The Guru says, the Sikh says, Sat Bachan. The Guru says, the Sikh does. No questions. And those actions are amul. Amul karam. Okay. Amullo amul akya na jai. So here the whole body changes. So here Maharaj is saying that perfect and priceless, that we cannot state how perfect and how priceless WhyGuru Ji is. So they're talking about the state of mind when someone realizes they can't pay for these things, that it's all priceless. They can't buy virtues, they can't buy blessings, they can't buy good actions. Right? When someone realizes this, then what happens? And Bhagat Kabir Ji here says, "Kabir mera mujh mein hai, kich nahi, jo kich hai so tera." That I've got nothing, and whatever I do have, that's yours anyway, WhyGuru Ji. They go on to say, "Tera tujhko sopte kya lage mera." That if I'm giving back to you what's already yours, then what is it costing me? So in this trade of Guru Nank Dev Ji, in this shop of Guru Nank Dev Ji, if we say, "Right, Maharaj, I'm going to give up my body, I'm going to give up my mind, my wealth," yes, that's fine. But who gave us that in the first place? It was Guruji. Guru Nank Dev Ji gave us that in the first place. So do they actually need any of those things? No. And a quick example here is of our dasvand. Dasvand is 10% of our earnings. And a hukum came from Guru Gobind Singh Ji. They said, if you're a Sikh of mine, you have to give 10% of your earnings. Now for fools like me, 10% hurts quite a lot. It's like, man, 10% is a lot, man. But what I forget is that my Guru is the one that gave it to me in the first place. And they're not asking for 20%. They're not even asking for 11%. It's just 10 out of 100. Right? And fools like me, I still get dukhi. I still get hurt by it. Right? But it's all amul. Guruji's blessed me with that in the first place. So when we realize that, all we can do is ark rahe livalai. All we can do is ark and say, "Vah, WhyGuru, you are so amazing. You are priceless. Your Sikhi is priceless. It's worth my head. It's worth more than my head. Vah, vah, WhyGuru, WhyGuru, WhyGuru." That's all we can do really in this trade of Guru Nank Dev Ji. So now they go on to list who else is reciting God's name. They say, "Akhe Ved Partha Purana." that even the Vedas, even the Purans, the Hindu scriptures, they themselves are chanting God's name. Akahe pare karahe vakiyan. That those who read those scriptures and do commentary on it, even they're reciting God's name. Maharaj goes on to say, Akahe barame akahe inda. Akahe gopi te govinda. So Maharaj is saying that the Devte like Brahma, the creative power of WhyGuru, they're reciting God's name along with Gopi te Govinda. So the milkmaids. So Krishna had many milkmaids, right, that would stay with him. Even they're reciting God's name. Maharaj is going through this whole list of people now. They've got to a point where they realize God is priceless and all they can do is say God's name. They go on to say, Akahe Isara Akahe Siddha. So Shiva and the Siddhs, even they are reciting God's name. Akahe Kete Kite Buddha. Those people with a lot of buddhi, a lot of intellect, even they recite God's name. Buddha here can also mean Buddha as well, right? They recite God's name. Now Maharaj says something really interesting here. They say, Akahe Danava, Akahe Dev. So we know the Dev there recite God's name, right? So Ind, Brahma, right? Shiva, they all recite God's name. But Maharaj here is saying, Akahe Danav. Even demons are reciting God's name. Right? So one time, Guru Nank Dev Ji, they were in a really dense jungle with Bhai Mardanaji, Bhai Balaji. They're in this jungle, and Bhai Mardanaji got really hungry, which he was known for, right? Gets really hungry, he goes, Guru Nank Dev Ji, we've passed so many fruits on our way here, let me go back and pick some of those. I'm really hungry. And Guruji says, no, you're to stay here, it's too dangerous for you. Mardanaji, imagine, he's so hungry, he gets fed up. He goes, Guruji, if I stay with you, I'm just going to die of hunger. I ain't doing this. So he goes off by himself, starts picking these fruit. Picks the fruit, starts eating, and he encounters a demon. This demon is so big, it's eaten every living thing in a 2-kilometer radius. Like every living being, every bird, every animal has been eaten by this demon. It's absolutely massive. It's that big, it picks up Bhai Mardanaji and swallows them whole. Doesn't even need to bite. Swallows them whole. Bhai Mardanaji's in the stomach of this demon, and they start doing Ardas. They say, oh Guru Nank Dev Ji, I should have listened. I'm so sorry. Can you help me now? I'm in the stomach of this demon, please. Only you can help me, please. Come help me. Guru Nank Dev Ji appears in the stomach of this demon along with Bhai Mardanaji. Bhai Mardanaji's like, you're here in the stomach, what are you going to do? Guru Nank Dev Ji says, don't worry. They start making their body bigger. Guru Nank Dev Ji start expanding their body to the size of the demon. The demon's thinking, hold on a minute, what's going on here? I only ate one person and my stomach's expanding. So he makes himself bigger, right? This demon has a lot of power. He makes himself even bigger. And Guru Nank Dev Ji doesn't stop. They continue to get bigger still. And as they're filling up the body of the demon can feel themselves ready to like pop, ready to explode. So they get bigger even more. But this, now the third time they expand their body, the demon cannot expand anymore. That's the biggest they can get. They're absolutely massive. And Guru Nank Dev Ji, as you can imagine, they just keep expanding. They go, and what happens? Pop. The Danav, the demon, explodes. Explodes by Mardanaji safe, Guru Nank Dev Ji safe. As the subtle body is leaving the demon's body, as the subtle body is coming out, it says, Dhan Guru Nanak, Dhan Guru Nanak, Dhan Guru Nanak. He says, you're so great, Guru Nank Dev Ji. I thought I was the biggest, I thought I was so powerful, but here you are. You've even shown me that you are bigger still. Dhan Guru Nanak, Dhan Guru Nanak. As he's saying Dhan Guru Nanak, the subtle body of this demon goes straight to Sachkhand. He doesn't stop. Doesn't stop saying Dhan Guru Nanak. He goes all the way to Sachkhand, merges with WhyGuru. Right? Akhe Danava, Akhe Dev. So Guruji says here, Akhe Sur Nar Mun Jana Sev. That the Surlok, so the people in heaven, right, they're reciting God's name. The Nar, people of hell, even they're chanting God's name. They're calling out to God. The Mun, the Rishis, and the Jana Sev, those saints that serve, they're calling out to WhyGuru as well. Maharaj goes on to say, Kete akahe akana pahe. So Guruji brings in two groups of people here. Kete akahe is those people that have recited God's name, right, in the past. Then the second group of people is akana pahe, those people that have just learned to recite God's name, right? So you've got the people that have done it in the past and the people that have just started doing it now. Then Guruji goes on to say, Kete kehe kehe ut jahe. So there's a third group. This third group are the people that have recited God's name and ut jahe. They've now left this world, right? So there's three groups of people Guru Nank Dev Ji is talking about here. And what did they say? They say about these people, ete kite hor kare. So there's so many that they're beyond counting. All these people. So we cannot utter all of those people. There's so many people that have recited God's name. So not only are the demons reciting God's name, not only are the devte, the demigods, but there's so many people. Maharaj is saying that we can't possibly know how many. It's beyond counting, it's countless. Another an alternative meaning here is Maharaj is also saying that ete kite hor kare. So if we took all the people that have recited God's name, or everyone that's ever meditated from the start of time, and then we doubled them, we made even more people that done that, even then, that even then those people would not be able to recite even one bit of God's greatness. Not even one bit would they be able to explain that 1% of you looks like this. Not even 1%. So we're almost to the end. Maharaj goes on to say, so, meaning how can we estimate how great WhyGuru Ji is? Right? Nanaka jane sacha soy. That only that one, oh Nanak, only that one truly knows how great they are. Right? We can't say you are this big. This is your end. We can only say you're the highest of the high. And then Maharaj finishes off by saying, Jeko ake bol vigar. If someone did say that I know how big God is, I know how big WhyGuru Ji is, I know how big Guruji is. Even if someone says that, what happens to that person? Dan likiye sir gavara gavar. On their head, on their destiny, will be written that not only are they a fool, a vigar, but they are the greatest fool. So of all the fools, Maharaj is saying, that person who says, I know God, I know how great God is, like I know the end of God, I can define WhyGuru Ji, that person is the greatest fool, Maharaj is saying here. Sorry, just going to finish off here with a quick point. So really, oh no, it's the next slide, sorry. So just to recap, this trade that Maharaj is talking about in Body 26, it's priceless because there's nothing we can't put a monetary value on it, right? All these things, our eyesight, the diban, the court, right, justice, all of these gifts, they're priceless. And in this trade, really all we can do is beg. We can only stand at Guru Nank Dev Ji's shop and do an ardas and say, Maharaj, bless me. Because whatever I'm looking to buy from you, whatever I have to give, be it money, my body, my mind, my soul, you've given me that in the first place. It's all come from you, right? So there's actually nothing for us to give. We can only beg. We can only do ardas. And Naam, Ark. All we can do is recite Naam and say, Vah, Vah, WhyGuru Ji, you're so amazing. You are Amun. You are priceless. So we've come to the end of the talk. Has anyone got any questions or any vichar of their own on that before we wrap up? Hanji, Hukum Singh. So the question is that the saints are already one with God. So even though they're one with God, do they know the limit of God? A true saint would never say they know the limit of God. Even if they do it, like earlier we said that God, only God knows how great God is, right? So even if they were, a true saint would never say, I know how big God is. TWGC? Does that make sense? Any other questions before we wrap up? Hanji at the back. WhyGuru. Thank you, VG. So VG has said a benti that when we go round the Nishan Sahib, like we said earlier, to pay some sort of respect, if we are to go around Nishan Sahib, try not to wear any shoes, VG say. Thank you, VG. It's really important. Thank you so much. Okay, guys, I think I'll wrap it up there and hand it over. The last thing for me to say is just thank you so much. Thank you for coming every week, week in, week out, and forgive me for all the mistakes I've made. I'm sure I made many, and bless me that if we do this again, that I'll do it with fewer mistakes next time. So let's finish off with the fateh then. WhyGuru Ji ka Khalsa, WhyGuru Ji ki fateh.
WhyGuru, it was a great talk. Thank you so much, bro. Just to add to that as well, like VG said, Hukum Singh. Hukum, over here. Hi. Just to add to that as well, it comes in Japji Sahib, Jai ho jana, akha nahi. Even if I knew, I could explain it to you. So just to add to what VG is saying as well. TK, thank you so much. What we'll do is that we have a few minutes of Kirtan by Karvi Singh as a volunteer himself. Kind of. So just for a few minutes, bro, like 5 minutes. Have a Kirtan, then we'll do Ardas. And then I say, I've Marju's Prakash, but Marju in Sukhasan, sad face, be nice, like a Hukanama side, but that's fine. Theek hai ji. Bye, Karvi Singh. Bless us with some Kirtan. WhyGuru Ji ka Khalsa, WhyGuru Ji ki Fateh.
ਪਵਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਪਾਣੀ ਪਿਤਾ ਮਾਤਾ ਤਰਤ ਮਹਤ ਦਿਵਸ ਰਾਤ ਦੁਇ ਦਾਈ ਦਾਇਆ ਖੇਲ ਸਗਲ ਜਗਤ ਚੰਗਿਆਈਆਂ ਬੁਰਿਆਈਆਂ ਵਾਚੈ ਧਰਮ ਹਦੂਰ ਕਰਮੀ ਆਪੋ ਆਪਣੀ ਖੇਡ ਜਿਨੀ ਨਾਮ ਤੇ ਆਇਆ ਸਕਤ ਕਾਲ ਨਾਨਕ ਤੇ ਮੁਖ ਉਚਲੇ ਕੀਤੀ ਛੁੱਟੀ ਨਾ ਜਿਨੀ ਨਾਮ ਤੇ ਆਇਆ ਗਏ ਮਸਕਤ ਕਾਲ ਨਾਨਕ ਤੇ ਮੁਖ ਉਚਲੇ ਕੀਤੀ ਛੁੱਟੀ ਨਾਲ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ